Hi, everyone. Welcome to a very special bonus episode of the Culture Study Podcast on the new show, Off Campus. With me today, let's introduce ourselves. So there's me, Anne Helen Peterson, your host. Who else is here?
I'm Margaret H. Willison. I'm your I'm your bonus host.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Bonus
Some
host.
kids have a bonus mom.
In fact, one of the things I refer to them as myself as a bonus adult of the girls.
Nice. I'm Melody Rowell. I produce this show.
And how do you feel about hockey romances, Melody?
I've read exactly one, and that was
Wow.
Heated Rivalry after I watched the show. I just have no interest in hockey as a concept.
Interesting.
So, and I haven't read that many sports romances in general.
You read baseball romance.
I've read a couple, but not like the genre of.
Oh.
It's different.
Dang it. I meant to, I have a hat. There's a really great romance company that's called 831 Press, and they put out like very chic little novellas, and they also have really great merch, including like favorite trope baseball caps. And my baseball cap is fake relationship because
Also, Melody's one of hers. Also, shared bed, right, Melody?
they have that one. Actually,
Only
forced
one
proximity.
bed. Yeah. But that can't be like, you can't sell me the book based on only one bed.
I feel like
it needs to be a surprise.
Okay, hold on. We gotta talk about what we're gonna talk about today.
Yes.
So
sure.
this show, Off Campus, I first started hearing about it because my best friend Elena, who is going to murder me for not inviting her as additional co-host for this show, she is a huge hockey romance fan. And I mean, I think she's read like a solid dozen, if not more. She is not a hockey person, but it just scratches an itch for her. And so she knew about this new show. And then also she works with a bunch of younger people who are also very into it. So she started sending me memes and peer pressuring me into watching it. And I knew, like, given the premise, this is a show that comes out, how many months? Like, we're talking 6 months after Heated Rivalry. There is a lot of discourse and affection and interest in romance adaptations. It is based on a very long series of books written by L. Kennedy. And I think that the first one was released in 2015. We can talk later in the episode about the very interesting year vibes that are going on in this show. But it starts in 2015, or she releases the first one in 2015. And then there are 5 in that series. And then there's a spin-off series that has another 4 books and another spin-off series that has 3 books. And the premise of the show is pretty simple. It's kind of a classic, like, slightly nerdy girl has to be in a relationship for complicated reasons, a fake relationship for complicated reasons.
She makes a deal with the star hockey player.
She makes a deal. The first book in the series is actually called The Deal.
I didn't even know that. That's funny.
With the star hot hockey player at
Garrett
a
Graham.
university. Yeah, Garrett at a university called Breyer University. That, again, very interesting.
Seems like it's someplace ambiguously in Massachusetts.
100%, but also ambiguously like D3, but with like D1 fans.
Yeah.
And also hockey scholarships, which do not exist in D3 schools. And like sports media, like local television stations covering.
Well, local television stations and like a cute gossip they/them.
Yes.
As opposed to Gossip Girl.
They're live streaming it on Instagram.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, so Jules is Logan's sibling. And apparently, we'll get into this again later. Apparently, there's a lot more in the books about like these other sub-characters and like class divides and that sort of thing that we only get into a little bit here. So, discuss today. I just want to set the table and then we'll go into all of our details. We're going to spend the first half of the episode pretty spoiler free. We're going to talk about some plot points, but we're not going to get into the nitty gritty. So if you still want to watch the show, then you can listen to this first part and just listen to us talking about like hockey romance adaptations in general. But we're also going to talk about why this show is resonating, what gap it's filling in, I think, a lot of our media diets. We're going to talk about the boobs in this show. We're going to have a whole segment. This is in our Google Doc. Let's talk a bit about boobs. There's so much to say. And what works and what doesn't. So if all of this is of interest, I really think this is just a really enjoyable show. So even if you don't think you are into hockey romance, hopefully you will have fun listening to us talk about this show and also about college set romance, the style of which we have not seen a ton of in the last, 5-6 years. So, okay, to kick us off, what did I not talk about in terms of plot? Margaret, can you tell us a little bit about the intrigue, how the pilot sets us up, I guess?
So how the pilot sets us up, we get a lot of background about Hannah, nickname Wellesley, per Garrett Graham, who's the sort of nerdy student who agrees to tutor him in philosophy so that he will pretend to date her and make her look more desirable to the musician she has a crush on. I don't understand why she's tutoring him in philosophy when she's a music major. Great for her, but she's a music major, and her arc in this moment is she was focused on classical composition, but there's no money in classical composition, so the scholarship she was counting on to be at Breyer next semester has just disappeared.
Just mid-semester. Her advisor's like, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's 3 weeks into the semester. She mentions this in the conversation with the advisor. But then her big chance to win another scholarship isn't until the end of the semester.
Right.
And it's pop showcase.
Right. Which is just you write your best possible pop song and then you all go head to head live to win
in front
a scholarship.
Of a packed auditorium.
Every audience is packed. This is part of the beauty of this show, right? Is every college anything. There's just a packed and attentive audience. I'll just say that this show does not demonstrate a very sophisticated understanding of college financial aid. That's all.
Yeah.
I think having a sophisticated understanding of almost anything other than classic rom-com tropes and how to embody them / improve on them is if you're looking for a sophisticated understanding of anything other than that, you've come to the wrong show. This show doesn't traffic in sophisticated understanding. It traffics in really good trope execution. But to get back to it, our trope execution, we have Hannah. She's working so many jobs. She's a brunette. She's really cute. She doesn't seem to know it. And she's got really low self-esteem. So she can't pursue the sexy musician who plays at the bar where she waitresses as one of her 17 different jobs. Meanwhile, Garrett Graham is the son of some really big deal New York Rangers player. And he's the star hockey athlete. And he's so good that he's even been recruited already by the Boston Bruins. And although he could, as star athlete, just get his coach to sort of make his academics suddenly work out in such a way that he can play. He won't ever use his name or position. He only wants things he's earned for himself, including a better grade in philosophy, which he needs to get through Hannah because even though their class is graded on a curve and therefore statistically only a certain number of people can get above a C, she managed to get an A+ on one paper. So he wants the tutoring. She's like, I'm way too busy. I can't tutor you. But then he observes the social awkwardness around the musician. And he's like, I know guys like that. That guy is not going to be interested in you until he knows you've been taken by somebody else. And that is sort of where we end the episode, as he demonstrates it by coming over and putting his coat on her while she's talking to the musician guy. And you watch the musician guy being like, wow, your status has gone up in my eyes. You're so much hotter than me now. And she's like, oh, darn it. I guess I will agree to tutor you so you'll pretend to date me so this musician will want to be with me. And that's our basic table setting. I guess in our background, we have some winning hockey boys who live in the titular off-campus hockey house.
The nicest off-campus house I have ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, and you have one, like, Draco Malfoy with a heart of gold, blonde, rich hockey player who's, like, also a player and sleeps with everybody, but, like, really decent and respectful about it.
His last name is De Laurentiis.
Yeah.
The character's last name.
The names are really impressive. So, yeah. Dean De Laurentiis. Love, again, alliterative naming.
I don't think I knew his name until, like, the 7th episode.
I mean, well, you don't need to.
Yeah.
It's just Draco Malfoy with a heart of gold.
Who's named Dean?
Only characters on CW shows. And this.
And we should
Fittingly.
say that this, to me, like, it feels like a CW show, which means it also feels like like what was the one before CW, before they merged together?
The WB.
The WB.
Or UPN. Yeah.
Right.
Those were the two networks that predated.
Production values, in terms of writing skill.
See, I think that's unfair to a lot of really quality shows that were on the CW and WB. Like, I think we're conflating like a One Tree Hill and a Gilmore Girls, and they were both on the same network, but they are a very different quality when it comes to writing. I have a very specific understanding of sort of like where this movie exists in an aesthetic quality space.
I think it's more in line with like Gossip Girl.
Yeah.
In terms of sophistication.
I think that's about right. Although there's irony in Gossip Girl because like Gossip Girl like wanted to be watched by adults who lived in New York City.
Yeah.
So there's like a self-referential irony that's sort of baked into it that is like not in this at all. There is no irony in this production. It is purely sincere and utterly pure of heart.
Yes. And we haven't talked about this yet, but there are two very significant trauma plots that run through the show.
Right. Each romantic protagonist has their own complicated trauma backstory.
Yes. And one of them, and I know this is something that's come up in the culture study chat for people who wanted to like know how this is handled. One of them involves sexual assault, a rape, in Hannah's backstory. And then the other one involves this isn't a spoiler. The other one involves abuse, like parental abuse, physical abuse.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about this later, but I actually think that especially the physical abuse plotline was pretty well handled.
I thought both were really well done. And actually, I guess that's me being unfair to the show because I was like, there's no sophisticated understanding of anything there. But I actually do think there's a pretty sophisticated understanding of like how one would be traumatized as a survivor of sexual assault, right? And then what one would want from like the people in your life and your partner around that news and around those revelations. Like, I think they do a good job of showing that in a more complicated way than you would expect, especially watching the pilot.
Yeah. My God. Yeah, we have to say the pilot is so bad that like I texted Melody. Did we text you early and we're like, please stick with it. The pilot is so bad. And
then I texted you and I was like, I hope you're right. Because I was like 10 minutes in and I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
I know. The first 10 minutes especially are really painful. So that's our note as well to people who are starting the show, that it has pilot sickness, which is a very common affliction.
Right. Yeah. And in this show, it's like one of the struggles is like exposition. They don't have any time to do it artfully. So it is done in like glaring dumps. And you have to do so many more of those in the first episode.
Yeah.
Where she's like, wait, but you mean the scholarship I was relying on to continue coming to Briar College has suddenly been eradicated only 3 weeks into the semester? And the teacher's like, I know there's just no money in classical music. Right. And you're like, okay, this is.
And like,
so dumb.
very, very, I think, broad stroke character establishing scenes. Like there's a scene we haven't talked yet about Hannah's best friend who, like, again, that's actually a relationship that I think is done very well.
Yes.
They actually talk about things that aren't boys sometimes. But they have to like show that like Hannah's kind of like the artsy emotional nerd and her best friend, what's her best friend's name?
Allie.
Allie is like the gregarious actress with tiny boobs who shows up to a party where everyone's dressed as like, I don't know, what are they dressed as?
They're like famous pairings.
Yes.
Famous
like
pairings.
Famous duos.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Dynamic
we had one
duos.
of these in college, famous couples. But she comes as like in the famous J-Lo outfit. Dress.
And the boyfriend she's obviously not going to be with for a very long time is meanwhile dressed as Ben Affleck, which just means like normal clothing, but holding a Dunkin' Donuts cup and wearing a Red Sox hat. And I was like, honestly, respect.
Yeah.
Can we backtrack to the trauma for a second?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I read an interview with Louisa Levy, who is the showrunner, and what I've read about her, I'm like super impressed with her. The tone of the show came up a lot in the writer's room, and the rule that they came up with was show impact, not exploitation. And they said, we never actually show any trauma. We show the aftermath because the show is not about trauma. It's about survival and healing.
That's that was a great thing to bring to the table. What an excellent producer we have.
I did a lot of research.
I love that for you and for us.
And, you know, it is, we're calling it a romance, but it also is a melodrama. And the way that it signals some of these like big feelings are often through a very, very on the nose song cues.
Yeah.
Oftentimes where the song lyrics describe the thing that is happening. And this is not just because our main character is also a songwriter. We're also just establishing like how we should be feeling, how the audience should be reacting in this moment. And oftentimes they are paired to with a very heavy use of flashbacks, which I think are effective. And like, if we're thinking about a broader audience, I don't need this to be like an avant-garde, like experimental film on trauma. Like, I think it works the way that they use flashbacks.
I agree. And like, so the obvious comparison point is heated rivalry. And what I think was impressive to a lot of people about heated rivalry right away is that it felt very well made, like beautifully filmed, beautifully shot. Lots of articles about the cinematography. Its production values were very prestige, even though its subject matter was pulpy.
Yeah.
This is not that. And it's in fact jarringly not that. But I do think deliberately not that. And the way that I was describing it to friends who like hadn't seen it yet is I was like, it's like a Hallmark movie where people can fuck. And instead of just like formally evoking coziness, being like, oh, it's a little town and like through semi-toxic nostalgia, they're actually creating like a palpable feeling of warmth and community amongst the specific characters that they're showing on the show.
Okay, we're going to pause here. If you want to hear the rest of this bonus episode, go to patreon.com/culture study to become a paid subscriber. Super easy. You can do it for the month. You can do it for the year. You can add on to your newsletter subscription. Just do it and you can hear this whole fantastic conversation.